Formal talks with President Assad are slated for later tonight, after which President Assad hosts a dinner in Rajiv Gandhi's honor.
وإننا في هذا الصدد نذكر بالتقدير الشديد مواقف الزعيم الكبير المهاتما وبعد استقلال سوريا والهند.
The most ancient Christian community of India proudly call themselves Syrian Christians. St. Thomas was followed 700 years later by Muhammad bin Qasim, who set sail from Syria to bring to India the message of Islam. In 1925, two Congress leaders, Hakim Ajmal Khan and Dr. M.A. Ansari, visited Syria and reported to the Congress on the callousness of the French and their utter disregard for the elementary rights of the people of the mandated territory of Syria. Of the great uprising in those years in Syria, Jawaharlal Nehru wrote to his daughter, my mother Indira Gandhi, that although the uprising was crushed after 2 years by the mighty French military machine, the great sacrifices of the Syrians had not been in vain. They had established their right to freedom. The world knew of what stuff they were made. In this 40th year of our independence, let me pay tribute to the encouragement our struggle for freedom received from your efforts to liberate yourselves.
إننا ننظر بإعجاب إلى الكفاءة والحنكة اللتين قدتم بهما أيها السيد رئيس الوزراء شؤون الهند عقب الظروف المأساوية اللتين قدتم بهما أيها السيد رئيس الوزراء شؤون الهند عقب الظروف المأساوية.
After a marathon session of talks with President Assad last night, the Prime Minister spent part of his day today familiarizing himself with Syria's recent and ancient history. This morning, he drove to the city of Quneitra in the southwest province of Golan. Because of its strategic location, Israel invaded the town this day 21 years ago. It occupied 1,200 square kilometers of the area and drove out over 1.5 lakh people from their homes. In October 1973, the Syrians surprised the Israeli occupation forces and retook part of the town. The two armies were disengaged and President Assad hoisted the Syrian flag on Quneitra in 1974. But before the Israelis withdrew, they blew up or bulldozed practically every building in the town. Today, these heaps of mangled steel and concrete bear testimony to Israel's barbarism, which brought death and destruction to this lovely land. The Prime Minister then took a step deep into Syria's past. The town of Palmyra, situated at an oasis in the great Syrian desert, about 240 kilometers northeast of Damascus. Its strategic location made it an essential halt for caravans traversing the desert on the old Silk Route. Because of this, Palmyra flourished as a big commercial center in the 1st century BC. But it couldn't escape the pillage of rival marauders and was eventually destroyed. The ruins of Palmyra are spectacular and awe-inspiring. Spread over nearly a 6-kilometer patch, there is the great colonnade that extended over 1,000 meters and was Palmyra's main street.
it was wrong to start the war, and we feel that the war should be ended. On the West, many different programs have been put forward, but we feel that an international conference would help, but the international conference should not just be a stage-managed one-day performance. It should be something which has some authority, and whatever comes out of the conference, it should be able to implement. Also, it is essential that all the parties that are involved are called to the conference and participate in the conference in their own right. India has had a very consistent and strong position vis-a-vis the rights of the Palestinians. And this is not just independent India. It has been our stand from long before our independence. And we have stuck to that position. We support the Palestinian cause for a homeland in their home, which is important. We have supported the Palestinians right through, and we will continue to do that. Syria, in a similar way, has fought for the Palestinian cause. There are certain differences in perception, but in the essence, there is no difference between what Syria wants to achieve and what we want to achieve. I've also explained the talks that we have had with Pakistan. I've also told him about the documentary evidence that we have given to Pakistan regarding terrorism and its sources in Pakistan. I've also told him about the number of training centers where training is going on, the names of the people who were trained in those centers, that we know the names of the people who were trained in those centers. We know the people who are doing the training, the units, the army units from which they come, their ranks. I've given him the full detail, and I think he appreciates the situation. I have also explained what measures we have taken, what difficulties we're having, and also the successes that we've had. I look forward to a much closer relationship and stronger relationship developing between Syria and India.